primary trait means is ink on paper, and that particular ink on paper means this behavior. It's just one thing. An evaluated trait is 2, 3, or 4 traits together. So if you said someone has a criminal tendency, that's not a primary trait. That's an evaluated trait. You see the difference? Yes. If someone has a success profile, is that a primary trait or evaluated trait? Evaluated. So what I'm giving you now is primary traits. So there's to add more to vocabulary. Benevolence, goodwill, kindness, good intention, good-hearted, team player. These are dish-like shapes, arcades at the baseline. It could be high, could be low, could be anywhere. But it's just a beautifully wide curved stroke, and it normally moves rightward, which is to where? People. So it's outward. It goes to other people. And it's gentle and it's curving. And these are the people that are the most sweet and kind and generous. These are team players. If you're building a team on a corporation, this would be somebody you want on your team. This would not necessarily be the leader of the team. Most leaders tend to have a little bit more energy, analytical, maybe even sometimes unpleasant traits because they have to make tough decisions. So these people are really good on a team. Magnanimity. Magnanimity. This is very similar to benevolence. Okay? They're eager to share, derives attention, and personal worth and be generous to others. So this very similar trait. It's long final strokes extending to the right 45 degrees. So it's almost the same as generosity. It's almost the same as generosity. But the difference is the entire writing is arcaded. You see? So instead of just one trait, you see the whole arcade of the writing, and then you see a lot of space between the words, and then you see these extenders. So the person's generous with his pen, his ink, his time. He likes to get benefit from attention. Now this is a very similar trait. It's just the other way around, friendliness. So it becomes friendliness up, like desire for attention. If you have a desire for attention, would it be reasonable to be nice to people to get the attention? It's probably a better methodology than being a jerk. Right? So maybe this is a fancy word for desire for attention, but because the loop is curved, it's not going to get attention friendly. Unless you're 2 years old, you probably know being nice to people is a better way to get attention than pooping in your pants. Or crying. Or throwing a temper tantrum. I love the story. Does anybody have children in here? Does anybody have children? Raise your hand. Okay. This is the greatest thing to do ever, and this relates to the book called The Horse Whisperer, is the first time your child is in the grocery store and they start throwing a temper tantrums because they want a candy bar, and they sit down and they're like, I'm going to sit right here until you give me that candy bar. You know what you do? Yeah. You walk away, and you walk away and you go. And about 60 seconds later, that little obstinate child is like, goes. And he will freak out, and he will never pull a temper tantrum again. Promise. Have you tried that with your child? Yes. Don't beat him. Walk away. In the book called The Horse Whisperer, which is different than the movie, by the way. I've never seen the movie, but I understand it's good. If you get a chance to read the book, it's really interesting. It's called The Horse Whisperer. It's about a guy that trained horses with love instead of pain. And he came from that horse culture in Texas and Colorado. And for the last 200 years, the way that you train a horse is you break his spirit. Are you aware of this? What they did is they would basically, in order to put a saddle and tame a horse, you would basically break his spirit. You would beat him, you would punish him, you would make him scared of you. And eventually, if you break his spirit, he would do what you say. Which I guess is effective, but it doesn't seem very kind. And it takes away sort of joie de vivre, or the love of life. And in children, it's the same thing. Some parents want to break their spirit. And then you're supposed to sit down, shut up, read your homework, obey, which means follow, follow, follow. Don't think for yourself. But then when you're 18, please go become a billionaire and take care of mother and father. Right? Go lead. Go lead the war. Go be a hero. But until then, eat your peas. Right? So at some point, you have to learn to get them to behave, but still have self-determination. And I think that's the trickiest part of being a parent, is teaching people that they have their own mind, their own will, they can make their own decisions, and they have consequences. The consequences of throwing a fit in the grocery store is you lose mommy's love. You lose daddy's love. And for the horse whisperer, that's what it was. He lost the love of the horse owner. The horse lost his love, and he wanted the love of the owner so bad he ended up being tamed. But he wasn't tamed, he was trained. And it became a mutual beneficial relationship. And it was remarkable, and now many horses around the world are trained differently from this one man deciding that love was a more powerful method than pain. It's a good story. So, friendliness and magnanimity. Good tie-in. And apparently, you can have friendliness and going any direction. Left, right, forward, backward, doesn't really matter. Now, you know what generosity is. Generosity is that long ending stroke. But you have to have high generosity, which is a weight of 3, very high generosity, or no generosity. And sometimes the trait would say, check for no generosity. Now, in the basic course, I always tell you, don't say a negative trait. But this one, we're actually looking for it. If it's not there, it's going to add up to a different trait. So sometimes we look for it. It doesn't mean you're not generous, but let's just say when we're stacking traits together, it's good to check if it's there. In this case, it would be there or it's not there.